Oh, hey guys. So listen, I recently watched the most recent Ryan Johnny John Johnson film, Wake Up Dead Man. You know, the latest in the Knives Out trilogy. Latest in the Knives Out series. I guess it's now a trilogy since it's the third one. And yeah, it was okay. Listen, I hope you don't mind while I'm recording this while I'm ever so slightly tipsy. It's the festive period, and I'm kind of like enjoying a little bit of wine this evening, and yeah, I've had a few. So anyway, but listen, what do I think about this film? Well, listen, man, it's okay. It, Listen, here's the thing about it is it's very long and drawn out. It's ever so protracted, and I'm against that because, at times it's quite boring, if I'm totally honest with you. But listen, overall, it's actually not too bad, even in spite of those flaws, and it has more flaws beyond just that. It's also got some pretty weird plot aspects to it, if you know what I mean. It's pretty bizarre, pretty ridiculous that the whole murder aspect relies on some like absurd conveniences, like Jeremy Renner relying on the fact that everyone else in the church. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was incredibly rude. That everyone else in the church is looking, the other way at the right time for him to stab Josh Brolin in the back, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so that's pretty ridiculous. And it's got some other fucking wacky shit in it as well. Like, like how that priest, I forget his name, but the priest from the past who, like, he wants to prevent anyone else from gaining access to his wealth. So, which is in the form of that diamond he has. So he eats it and then he drops dead for eating it, and that's like, what? I'm just like, huh? Did he know that was gonna happen, or like, you know what I mean? Did he just expect? Like, was that the plan? Was he planning to kill himself by eating that, or was he thinking that like he just kind of like fish it out of the toilet eventually and then just eat it again to keep it hidden? Because like that was his whole reason for eating it, wasn't it? It was to keep it hidden from other people who wanted it. And it's like, what? Why? Like, what? That was a really weird thing. That's like one of the weird things. There's always a weird thing in Rian Johnson films like that. Like, like in the Last Jedi, there are a bunch of weird things like that. Like the biggest one, perhaps, one that springs to mind for me, was the like that ridiculous like Mary Poppins Princess Leia scene where she's flying through space. It's just so silly. And there's a bunch of other absurd stuff in that film, which like we all know by this point. Like, you know what I mean? But in I can't remember the first Knives Out well enough to like tell you if there was anything like that in that one. I like that film; it's good, TBH. But I can't. There might have been some wacky stuff in there. I can't remember. Second Knives Out film, Glass Onion, had a lot of that stuff in it. It was fucking wacky AF. I didn't like that film. It was terrible. I've got to be honest with you, Chief. It was absolutely terrible. If you catch my drift, wouldn't recommend it. Thought it was fucking ludicrous the way it ended. How, like, doesn't it end with like something like, if I'm forgetting this, I apologize, but I feel like it ends with that woman like burning the the glass onion building thing they're all in down, like while they're in there, including her, so she's like burning the building she's in down, or something along those lines. I don't know. I've only watched it once. I'm not returning to it because it was garbage. Garbage. So yeah, wacky stuff in that film. And then of course there's what's it called? Looper by Rian Johnson, which again, I thought that film was absolutely garbage. I couldn't even get through it. I had to give up on it partway through because it was so fucking shit. As far as I remember, I barely remember anything that happens in it, but I remember some stuff and I thought it was bad. And then, like, we fast forward to this one. What is it? Wake Up Bread Man. Bread Man? Yeah, and it's got nothing to do with bread, as a matter of fact. It's more to do with, like, people being dead and stuff like that. So this one It's not too bad overall. I think it's actually okay. It's just quite boring for a lot of the runtime, but I think. To be honest, in spite of that, in spite of the, kind of, what would you say, the sort of like boring nature of it, the protracted nature, the fact that it really overstays its welcome with its long runtime and just sort of long periods of nothing much really happening in the film. I would say it's still kind of quite. It's got appeal to it. It's got something. It's kind of enjoyable all the same, and I somewhat liked it, regardless of all that. And I think I apologise for saying so much to punctuate sentences. It's just one of those things that kind of happens when I'm sort of, I said it again, when I'm diving into this kind of thing off the cuff like this without having scripted a video. So I apologise, but it's just the way it's got to go sometimes. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, no, it's still got some appeal to it, regardless of all that. It's well shot. It's very well acted, I have to say, particularly by the main character, played by Josh O'Connor. What's his name? Judge Duplicity or something along those lines. I think that might actually be it precisely. But his performance is top notch, and he really sells. It's quite a well written character. I have to credit Rian Johnson with that, even in spite of the fact that a lot of his other films are kind of like pretty wacky, or pretty shit, if I'm honest with you. But no, this oh, there's my phone. I apologise, but no, this character was well written and well acted, and those two kind of elements complement each other. They kind of, shut up. Sorry, that's my phone again going off. They complement each other very well, and so that those two elements really sell the character, I have to say. So very well played character by Josh O'Connor, and the whole murder thing I've already talked about how ridiculous that is. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was incredibly rude of me. I apologise. Not good. I take it all back. What can I do? Not much. I don't have a time machine. Even if I did, I wouldn't use it to recount that burp just then. It's just the way things are. Anywho, so yeah, all that was good. Thematically, the film was quite interesting. Like, I think not only was it kind of, I say interesting, it wasn't particularly novel thematically in terms of the fact that the sort of ideas the film explores are not particularly new. Particularly not remotely new, not new in the least. We know this kind of, we're familiar with this discussion that's going on with the debate of the relevance of the church and how it should adapt or not adapt to the modern world. Should it hold firm in its kind of old world principles, or should it actually conform to the modern world and shed some of its old world values? That's quite an interesting conversation. Again, not very novel in that it's one I think we're probably all familiar with at this point, but still it was quite well explored, I think. And given Rian Johnson's reputation for being a sort of fairly partisan left-wing political artist, I think I give him credit for exploring that with a fair amount of sort of nuance and balance. And I think, as far as I know, he injected a lot of his own personal religious journey into this film, so that's good. And that's why it probably resulted in more of a balanced film than one might have expected from a figure like him. But I've kind of lost my train of thought. Where was I? So that was all good. You might say, so the film has other political satire in it, and it satirises right-wing kind of political aspirations, political ideology, that kind of thing. And it's I think, as far as I remember, it's pretty one-sided in that satirization. It satirizes, I think the character's name is Cy, something like that, the bastard son of Josh Brolin, who was a failed politician. He tried to make it in politics, and he explains how he tried to work every right-wing angle, all the different various in quote conspiracy theories of the right, and failed. None of it worked for him. And It seems like, as far as I remember, I don't think the film satirizes the left-wing political project in any way similar to that, or even at all, I don't think. And, we all know from Ryan Johnson's previous work, we know what his politics are. He's a left-wing guy. That's pretty obvious. He doesn't seem to hide that in his work. It comes out very clearly in the films he makes. His films are sort of overtly political, I would say, but or many of them are anyway. But you could say the film was quite one-sided in that political satire. But even so, despite that's a fair criticism to make. Despite that, beyond that, with the religious debate that takes place in that film, I think the film's like relatively evenly balanced when it goes to the more like substantive discussion about religion and the place of the church in the world and stuff. You may disagree. I don't know. I don't really. If you do, you're welcome to put those thoughts in the comments, and I will be receptive to them. But this video's going long, I think. I don't know how long I've been talking, but excuse me. Oh, that really went down the wrong pipe. I'm so sorry. Oh God, awful. I'm so sorry. That was incredibly uncouth. Just took a bit of a swig of wine there, and it went down the wrong pipe there. Oh, good heavens! It went down the trachea rather than the esophagus. Not good stuff. Oh, but never mind. Where was? Yes. So overall, taking all that into account, I think the film's okay. It's not too bad. It doesn't come across as a egregiously politically preachy film like some might claim some of Ryan Johnson's other films come across as. It does ultimately have the same message or the same kind of, it explores the same ideas of greed and the way greed corrupts people or whatever. It's kind of the same message as the first Knives Out, in that everyone's, well, not everyone, but some of the characters are sort of really sort of corrupted by the prospect of enrichment that the diamond in this film offers, and it's the same thing with the inheritance that's offered in the first Knives Out. So it's that seems to be a particular bugbear of Ryan Johnson. He seems obsessed with that concept, and it's kind of ironic in a way, given he's a millionaire himself. And there are people who, I suppose, like left-wing people who would hand that away, who would hand that away. Who would hand wave that away and say, it doesn't really matter. It's like his critiques are valid regardless of how wealthy he is. It's like, what does it matter if he's wealthy? He's still saying the right stuff. But I think that's kind of BS. I think it does show a clear hypocrisy if someone is sort of vociferously criticizing capitalism and the pursuit of wealth when they themselves are extremely wealthy. It's clearly hypocritical, given that they could very easily give a huge amount of their wealth to charity or to just individuals who don't have any money themselves or have far less money than the people who do have money, and still yet live very comfortably, even after giving away, the vast majority of the wealth. But they don't do that. At least I assume Ryan Johnson hasn't done that. I haven't looked into him deeply enough to say for sure that he hasn't donated the majority of his wealth to charitable causes, but I would be very surprised if he had. I expect he probably lives a very luxurious lifestyle, enjoying the money he's earned from his Hollywood career. If not, then hey man, I'll freely admit that, listen, I judged prematurely, and he's actually living by the principles he preaches in his films. But come on man, I don't think that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case, but maybe it is. I would be shocked if that's something he's done. But hey, listen, feel free to tell me if you're more informed than me on that, and he actually has done shit like that. But anyway, that's kind of, I'm getting off track there. Let's get back to the film itself. So overall, yeah, it's got that message that's prevalent in many of Ryan Johnson's films about the corrupting nature of the pursuit of personal enrichment. But, and that, to be honest, you might say that, even though that's kind of like a central theme of the story that kind of like drives much of what's going on in the story, you might say by the very end it somewhat drags the story down, because it has a bit of an ending that you could say is a bit weird. You could say, like, it ends with Josh O'Connor's character, what's his name, Judd Duplicity. He carves a Jesus on the cross kind of sculpture out of wood, and puts the diamond in the center of that sculpture as its kind of heart. And that's kind of that's sort of nice iconography in a way, but it's also like, in the society in which we live, where wealth does sort of transform the circumstances for people, that object of wealth is basically just going to waste in there, when it could actually be improving people's material circumstances. So it's a weird ending, and it's an ending that one can debate the merits of, I suppose. So like, if you have an interpretation of it that's different, that where you think that's actually, that shows something, that's a good ending to the story, or whatever. Oh, I'm sorry. Then do let me know in the comments. I think I've been rambling for long enough on this, and I think I should end this video here. So thank you for watching this video. If it was worth your time in any way, I don't know if it is, because as I say, I'm a little bit tipsy at this point. One might even say drunk. One might even say pissed. And I've kind of just been going off on one on this, but yeah, if this was interesting to you in any way, that's good. Let me know what your thoughts are on the film itself and on my commentary on it, if you agree or disagree. I'm actually interested to know if you disagree or agree. I'm interested in all feedback on this, so let me know in the comments. Leave a like if this was good for you in any way, you little gingerbread boy, and subscribe for more videos like this on cultural and political topics. Bye.